Hello there. I wanted to talk about Justin Trudeau today. It's only a tiny little thing, a snippet of information for John Q. Public. Uh, Essentially, what had happened was there's this cartoonist who drew a cartoon, A Walk in the Snow, which was signifying, an avalanche and Justin Trudeau's 2019 election and how it may not go very well. Supposedly, it was insulting towards that his father had also, a variation of this sort of cartoon existed back in 1984, and that was supposed to be insulting, and also there was some sort of reference to his younger brother Michel Trudeau, who perished in a avalanche back in 1998. Um, I mean, I knew that offhand, but I needed a refresher course. Um, well, for one thing, you got to take it with a pinch of salt as far as its comedic value. Yes, it's in poor taste. It's not the kind of joke I would make. If anyone's seen the very few jokes I've made of Justin Trudeau, I will talk about how he's being weak in regards to his dealings with the Chinese Communist Party, in particular Hunhui, and the whole way he's approached it. I don't think he's handled it very well. Um, this cartoon was drawn by Theo Mukadakis. Who knows if I pronounced that right? It sounds rather Greek to me. A Toronto Star cartoonist. Um, it's a fairly benign looking caricature picture. There's not much going on in it. And the thing about cartoonists is if they get into a certain position, that's a lot of what they do for their job. So, that's like not much at all. Uh, they draw way, way, way more offensive pictures than that. Like that's nothing. Was Justin Trudeau, is he going to be scarred for life from ever looking at an avalanche without thinking about Michel Trudeau? Or is he the prime minister who makes deals, selling arms, weapons, um, and technology for the express purpose of other nations to suppress other nations, most notably the Saudi Arabians and the Yemenis. Of course, there are other ones, and there's a lot of backdoor deals that are done, and Trudeau has to make a lot of bad decisions every single day that do get people on the wrong end of the business deal. And in this world, you don't want to be on the wrong end of the business deal. You lose more than your shirt. Um, yeah, so this cartoonist must have been drawing a lot more than what they show, uh, even on his Twitter, or his paper, or whatever. He draws a lot more than that, and there is this culture of being extremely offensive. I don't quite understand the psychology of it, but it is a real thing where there will be people who will call you any name under the sun, and it's for the express purpose of making you angry, and then, not being able to do anything about that. That gives them power, makes them look like a bunch of assholes. But cartoonists and caricatures, that's nothing new, not in Canadian politics, not in anyone's politics. It's been done for, a very long time. In fact, many Chinese regimes, including the Chinese Communist Party, do it today, and they say the most atrocious things. And it is scary because if this shit gets on the internet, young people looking at it won't understand it, and it'll be too much for them. They won't know how to comprehend it, and it will, I don't know, make their heads explode or something. Just too much globus hystericus. There are imagery that can invoke that sort of thing. I'm not saying that this Toronto Star guy drew anything like that, but who knows, maybe he did. Um, However, I am saying that that is, the dummy version of events, which is what we're quite used to as, the working class, the peasants, and that's who we are. We get the garbage version of everything. And okay, maybe there are people in positions within our society, well, there definitely are, who have a better perspective of things, and things and imagery mean different things to them, simply because of their knowledge base. But to me, what this says is Justin Trudeau was offended by this guy, and it wasn't one cartoon, and he's telling them to shut up. That's basically it. And he must have been saying like the most grotesque things. And with my experience on social media and the way people have, had dialogue with me, whether they're insulting me, having an argument with me, whatever, uh, that is really only the beginning of how horrible people are out there. And they do it in such a way where they kind of like get away with it. And then again, this is kind of a power thing. I don't know, maybe they're testing said individuals like myself or whatever. I mean, obviously, as I said before, I wouldn't, make a joke in that poor taste. I don't even think that it would be funny on any level. But clearly, there was more to it than that. Yeah, it's a fairly rudimentary explanation as to what could possibly be going on, but not that many people are going to know. It's another one of those stories swirling around the media, and it's only a small one. There's a lot of other things going on too that there's not ever going to be a full explanation of it. There never will be. Next week, people will have forgotten. Hell, people will have looked at this story today, and tomorrow they'll have forgotten. And it's not because anything really has been going on lately. I mean, the Hawaii the business executive, that's kind of big news. It's, very pinnacle to see if Justin Trudeau buckles or not. And if he does, that sends a real bad message. Not that I think that the woman who's been broadcasted on the television and occasionally in the newspaper is her, because she has too many Western mannerisms and she doesn't act like somebody from China who would be a CEO. She just doesn't. Um, and, I obviously have not been impressed with Justin Trudeau's prime ministership. He's very, very incompetent. I know it's a very hard job, and that there are a lot of factors that are to be considered, that we're not cognizant of. Most people watching this video will not be cognizant of these things, and not everything he's done has been wrong, but a lot of what he has done has been wrong. And there have been times where he should have done better and he didn't. And it's this whole preying on the ignorance of the masses that I'm really against. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of information out there that's, bad to learn and not, something you even want to know. But the explanations we're getting from the media and what we're supposed to think and how we're supposed to think are quite insane. And it's a mental disorder. It really is. And it's clear that they don't want us to know anything, but they want us to be content with what little information we get. And this is very little information. And, I don't understand how that wouldn't, make things worse as far as people, being completely oblivious and unhelpful in conversation. Because I do hate, Canadian sanctimonious, pretentious morality, and that's really what it is. Canadians who have any form of power are cunts. Most of them are cunts. It doesn't matter if they do the "oh, I must be cruel to be kind" bullshit, or they figure that's the most efficient way to do things, or whatever chain of reasoning, or they're being told that's what they have to think and do. But the fact of the matter is, anyone, not just Canadians, but Canadians are particularly bad. If they have any kind of power whatsoever, they are cunts. And I am sick and tired of the ones who think that they're the good guys because they may do some good things, but as a whole, they don't. They do a lot of bad things. They say bad things about people. They put bad people in bad situations. You get a guy like Justin Trudeau. He took away from money from the poor. He did, with making not a tax exemption with bus passes. He took that away. He didn't have to take it away, but he did. And some people go, well, that was probably already in the works anyway, and it wouldn't matter what prime minister was in, that probably would happen. True enough, but he is the prime minister, so he takes the blame on that one, as well as a lot of other things. I mean, it's no small deal selling weapons to the Saudi Arabians. Bunch of bastards they are, and no, I'm not going to grovel to them. And Justin Trudeau is having a lot of conversations with the natives. It would seem as though more than Stephen Harper ever did, but he did his fair share as well, I suppose. And it's the endless bitching and moaning and groveling, and whether any of this is actually happening or not, or that's the story we're being told so that we can be humiliated as white Canadians, I don't know. Um, but yeah, I'm having to look at this Trudeau's walk in the snow, and it's like, is this it? Is uh, my tolerance to jokes and things like that supposed to be downgraded to such a point where if a leaf from the autumn trees falls on the ground, I'm supposed to start crying or something like that? Because obviously this isn't happening. And I mean, um, I'm inclined to believe Justin Trudeau's brother Michel Trudeau did die in that particular avalanche many years ago. Although he's prime minister, and that means being surrounded by lies all the time. So it could be a straight up lie because it's I don't know, compensating for something else. The watered down version of something else. Yeah, I'm looking at this thing on the globalnews.ca. Oh, and they have to be wearing a burqa. The woman who's writing this, Maham Abidi. Yeah, I wonder how many women wearing burqas has Trudeau sold weapons to the men that run those countries, and women like her have suffered. Because she's a fraud, total fraud. I can see that right from this, not very high pixelized picture of her. No, you're not suffering with your people because you put on a fucking burqa. You still live the privileged Western life. And even going to places like that, it counts for something. But if you're inclined to do so, I sure as hell wouldn't go to any of those places. That's their bag, though. Wouldn't pay no stock into that. Uh, but I do got to say that what a waste of a time story this is. It doesn't deter people from saying nasty things on social media. And like I said, they do it for a psychological reason that doesn't make any sense to me. And they shouldn't pretend that they actually care and that they can't say things like that, because that wouldn't be true. These people are notorious liars. You can't trust them with anything. And when it's them accusing you of anything, and they can do that, insult you on anything, you're supposed to, be offended, this, that, and the other, and then they can call you a bitch, and basically that's it. However, uh, one tiny little thing that they don't like, because evidently this is, Stalin, Soviet Russia, where they don't exactly take you in front of a firing squad anymore, but metaphorically, they, will destroy your reputation, and other very bad things against your character. And there are people out there that try to do this against Justin Trudeau every day, and a lot of them are actually international, like the Chinese Communist Party. Of course, they draw pictures of horrible things. I don't like imagining what those horrible things could be, but there are plenty of things. I don't know. They could put. I don't even want to talk about it. Like, it's a lot of it's mostly disgusting. So like you don't even want to picture it anyway. But that doesn't stop people from drawing that kind of stuff. And it can have a very manipulative brainwashing effect. Except with today's Canadians, they don't have enough brains to wash. Um, However, I will continue to make memes every now and then. I don't, make it a top priority, but I'll make them every now and then, and I'm not going to throw cheap shots at Justin Trudeau like that. Um, I will say when he's being weak towards you know, the Chinese Communist Party, because that I'm strongly against. And it is not an ideal situation that there are Canadians, and more than what they say, who are detained and on death row in China just because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they may not, exactly be in front of a firing squad. They may be, I don't know, tortured forever. Um, and then, it becomes the human trade-off, part of the slave trade, the white slave trade. And if you're stupid enough to go over there and take that chance, then, there's not much anyone can do for you. Um, I specifically named the Chinese Communist Party because they are reputed for being exactly that. And of course, there are other nations that do that as well, but nobody does it quite like the Chinese Communist Party. And, you know, as I said, what is Justin Trudeau to be traumatized by an avalanche? A picture of a cartoon avalanche every time he sees one? I mean, Michel Trudeau dying, that's something that probably happened anyway. Something he definitely can't feel good about, but obviously walking around cabinet all day, he can't be thinking about it too much because he's got a job to do. And it was many years ago, and other people, they don't care because whatever happens to them, or all that kind of stuff. And it's like this story is it's dumbed down so hard that anything could be happening, and who the fuck would know? Certainly anyone who would know wouldn't tell anybody, and they wouldn't tell anybody, and when they don't tell you, you don't find out until you're already fucked. So offhand, I would say, I don't really give a damn. I wouldn't draw a cartoon like that, but obviously other people do. Couldn't stop me even if I wanted to. I would be more interested in seeing a stronger prime minister in office, and it wouldn't be Trudeau. It'd have to be somebody else. Except I think he has enough power that he will stay as prime minister, hopefully with a weakened government at very least. Um, because I don't think he's doing that good a job. And I know it's, like I said, it's not an easy job, but that doesn't mean he's doing a good job by being the prime minister. Um, so anyway, I don't actually watch or look at many political cartoons. 99% of them you don't see anyway. People prefer to, hog everything to themselves and then act like they know it all so they can lord it over you. And, internet propaganda is most certainly one of those things. So anyway, I doubt this will be a story that comes up again. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was a similar story that's happened every prime ministership. They simply rehash it every few years as a story, uh, simply because they don't have that many stories. The world's not that complicated a place, but people make it out to be, and then you take a good look at it and go, well, I don't think these people are particularly intelligent. I don't profess to be, but I will point out when I can see that other people are not and don't deserve the respect that they get, regardless of their position in society. So anyway, I think I will tail this video off. I will talk to you people later, and yeah, don't like Justin Trudeau. Don't like Justin Trudeau. He is he's a cunt. Yes, that's what he is. He's a cunt. Anyway, have a good one.